Israel carried out strikes on the rebel-held capital Sanaa and the port city of Hodeida. This after days of Houthi fire setting off sirens in Israel. The Israeli military saying that it has targeted Houthi infrastructure at the international airport in Sanaa, as well as power stations. Iran, which backs the Houthis, called the Israeli strike a violation of peace and security. And for more on the story, let's cross live to our correspondent in Jerusalem, Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, first of all, tell us what you have on these latest Israeli strikes in Yemen. What more do we know?
Well, Ketevan, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just released a few minutes ago a video of holiday greetings, Hanukkah greetings, in which he said that this massive strike today against Houthi infrastructure in Yemen is part of Israel's war of redemption, an existential war. And what we're really seeing is an escalation on both sides. So if Iran and Israel seem to have taken a step back from the direct attacks one on each other that we saw in April, for example, what we're seeing now is Israel attacking Iranian proxies and Iran really upping the ante through these same proxies with basically the defeat of its two main arms in this region, Hamas and Hezbollah. Iran has really, I would say, fired up the Houthis. And what Israeli analysts are saying here is that they expect that a war over the Red Sea is going to escalate. That's something that, if it happens, will have major implications for global commerce.
Now, separately, there's a new report out by the New York Times alleging that the Israeli military loosened its rules of engagement right after the October 7th attack. What more did we learn in this report by the New York Times?
I think there's several things to say here, but one of them is that one reason that this report, 15 months into this war, one reason that this report is so important is that the Israeli army and the Israeli government have chosen a public diplomacy policy that is completely opaque. So we're really relying on this New York Times investigation to give us information that the Israeli military itself should have released, and that would have been able to confirm or at least qualify what we're hearing. But what the New York Times investigation shows is what many Israeli allies and enemies have basically concluded on their own. And it is that following the Hamas terror attack of October 7th, that the Israeli army, which had been caught unprepared, and the Israeli government, obviously, equally, that they loosened in a unilateral way their rules of engagement. I'll give you one example, that if previously the IDF had adhered, for example, to a rule of just one civilian being an acceptable collateral damage if it was aiming to hit a Hamas leader, after the start of the October 7th war, up to 20 civilians killed as collateral damage became an acceptable standard for the Israeli army. Again, we don't have confirmation, but this is by far the most extensive study of the changes in Israel's rules of engagement during this war that we've seen so far.
Thank you very much, Noga, for your reporting. Noga Tarnopolsky reporting there in Jerusalem.